Hey there. We are on day 35 of going through the New Testament in the order that the events actually happened. And today we are doing Matthew 22 and Mark 12. Trying to keep the story straight, right? Okay, here we go. Parable of the wedding feast. Remember, Jesus is on his way, or back in Jerusalem, just came to Jerusalem, triumphal entry, riding the colt, right? Oh. And again, Jesus spoke to them a parable, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son, and sent his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they could not come." Again, he sent other servants, saying, "Tell those who are invited, see, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding feast." But they paid no attention and went off, one to his farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his servants and treated them shamefully and killed them. Wow. It's about Jesus, right? The king was angry and sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, "The wedding feast is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore to the main roads and invite to the wedding feast as many as you find." And those servants went out into the roads and gathered all whom they found, both bad and good. So the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to look at the guests, he saw there a man who had no wedding garment. So he said to him, "Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding garment?" And he was speechless. Then the king said to the attendants, "Bind him hand and foot and cast him into the outer darkness. In the place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen." Yeah. Interesting. Right. Paying taxes to Caesar. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to entangle him in his words. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God truthfully, and you do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, "Why put me to the test, you hypocrite? Show me the coin for the tax." And they brought him a denarius. And Jesus said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" They said, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and God to the things that are God's." When they heard it, they marveled, and they left him and went away. Right. Sadducees. Sadducees asked about the resurrection. They didn't believe in resurrection, okay? You live your life, and then you die, and you're done, right? The same day Sadducees came to him, who say there is no resurrection, and they asked him a question, saying, "Teachers, Moses said if a man dies having no children, his brother must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The first married and died, had no offspring, and left his wife to his brother. So to the second birth down to the 7th. After them all, the woman died. In the resurrection, therefore, of the 7, whose wife will she be? For they all had her." But Jesus answered him, "You are wrong, because you know neither the Scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven." Right? All single. Right? "And as for the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was said to you by God? I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living." And when the crowd heard it, they were astonished at his teaching. Right? The great commandment. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. "Teacher, which is the greater commandment of the law?" Which is the great commandment of the law? He said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments depend all the law and the prophets." Right? Just the 2. Right? They still put 10 commandments in the buildings today when these 2 commandments should cover it. Whose son is the Christ? Now, while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question, saying, "What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "The son of David." He said to them, "How is it then that David in the Spirit calls him Lord, saying, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies at your feet'? If David calls him Lord, how is he his son?" Okay. Trick question. Okay. Back then, You never called your kids Lord, okay? Your kids called you Lord, okay, in the succession. So David said, the Lord said to my Lord, and he's talking about Jesus, okay? If he's the son of David, how can David call him Lord, right? And that's what he's asking. If then David calls him Lord, how is he his son? And no one was able to answer him a word, nor from that day did anyone dare ask him any more questions. All right, so there's Matthew 22, here's Mark 12, okay? Same, same. That's a long one too, so let's read this. Okay, parable of the tenants. And he began speaking to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, and dug a pit for it, a wine press in the tower, and leased it to tenants. We read this before, right? And went into another country. When the season came, he sent a servant to the tenants to get from them some of the fruit from the vineyard. And they took him and beat him and sent him away empty-handed. Again he sent another servant, and they struck him on the head and treated him shamefully, killed him, okay? And sent another, and him they killed. And so with many others, some they beat, some they killed. He had still one other, a beloved son. Finally he sent him to them, saying, they will respect my son. But those tenants said to one another, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance will be ours. And they took him and killed him and threw him out of the vineyard. What will the owner of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the tenants and give the vineyard to others. Have you not read the scriptures? The stones the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. And they were seeking to arrest him, but feared the people, for they perceived that he had told the parable against them. Right? So they left him and went away. Right? The tenants, right? Pharisees will kill Jesus, thinking that they will inherit everything. Wrong. God will come and, right, kill him. Paying taxes to Caesar. And they sent to him some of the Pharisees and some of the Herodians to trap him in his talk. And they came and asked him, Teacher, we know that you are true and do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances, but truly chief way of God. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Should we pay them or should we not? But knowing their hypocrisy, she said to them, Why put me to the test? Bring me denarius, and let me look at it. And they brought one, and he said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? They told him, Caesar's. Jesus said to them, Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they marveled at him. Right? Sadducees asked about the resurrection. Yeah. Same story, different person telling it. Right? And the Sadducees came to him, who say there is no resurrection, and asked him a question, saying, Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife, but leaves no child, the man must take the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers. The first took a wife when he died and left no offspring. The second took her and died, leaving no offspring, and the third likewise. And the 7 left no offspring. Last of all, the woman died. In the resurrection, when they rise again, whose wife will she be? For the 7 had her as a wife. Okay? Sadducees were said, you see. A Sunday school teacher told me that when I was a kid. They were sad, you see. Okay. Jesus said to them, Is this not the reason you are wrong? Because you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God. For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. And as for the dead being raised, have you not read in the book of Moses, in the passage of the bush, how God spoke to him, saying, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. You are quite wrong. Right? No, it says, a lot of people think, when you die, you become an angel. No, it says you be like angels. You won't be an angel. We are above the angels, okay? So, the great commandment. And one of the scribes came up to him and heard him disputing with another, and seeing that he answered them well, asked him, What commandment is the most important of all? Jesus answered, The most important is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And the scribe said to him, You are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and there is no other besides him, and to love him with all your heart and with understanding, with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself is much more than the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. And when Jesus saw that they answered wisely, he said to them, You are not far from the kingdom of God. And after that, no one dared ask him any more questions, right? Got that. Hey, whose son is the Christ? And as Jesus taught in the temple, he said, How can the scribes say that the Christ is the son of David? David himself in the Holy Spirit declared, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. Okay, David's talking about Jesus, calling him Lord. You don't call your kids Lord, your kids call you Lord. Okay? David himself calls him Lord, so how is he his son? And the great throng heard him gladly. Beware of the scribes. And in his teaching is beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and like greetings in the marketplace. These are lawyers, okay? Still doing that now, right? They have the best seats in the synagogues and the places in honor of the feasts, who devour widows' houses and for a pretense make long prayers. They will receive a greater condemnation. The widow's offering. And he sat down opposite the treasury and watched the people putting money into the offering box. Many rich people put in large sums. And a poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which make a penny. And he called his disciple and said to him, Truly I say to you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the offering box. For they all contributed out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, has put everything she had, all she had to live on. She gave more, right? Gave everything. So there you go. That's today. We will go to our spreadsheet here and we will mark that off. Mark that off. What shall we put here? Sadducees test J, just so we'll know where we're at, all right? I'll save that. So there you go. Nice day 35. Catch up on any may miss and give us a like if you think about it. And tomorrow we'll do it again. See ya.